To be or not to be a minority? That is the question. A question I've been revisiting and trying to comprehend. From the outskirts, being a minority doesn't seem like the ideal position. Being different, perhaps a dissident, maybe exotic. And I'm all too familiar with these words and trends, having used them, even in my favor. But as I've come to understand and accept my story, this minority status has become a fallacy, a malicious status imposed on me, the dominant norms and ideologies that have bruised, broken, and beaten me, boxing me into this tiny crevice of being a minority. To be a minority, a visible minority, hasn't been quite the tragedy. I've embraced and accepted being the token Asian, flaunting my Jamaican roots of being Chinese and Jamaican, despite not speaking Cantonese or Mandarin or fitting in or understanding anything. But with these white folks, it didn't matter because I met the quote-unquote part of the exotic, even though I was just as Canadian as the rest of them. But being a visible minority wasn't the part that bothered and ate away at me. But the forbidden and hidden pieces inside of me, I locked away for no one to see. So I grew up Christian, going to church, going to Christian school, doing all the things a good little Christian girl should do. I prayed sometimes, I read my Bible sometimes, and I tried to love all people. But secretly, there were some people I could not love because I grew up learning to hate them and what they did, living a life of sin and being an abomination. But the real reason I could not love them was because I was filled with self-hatred, judging and condemning myself the hardest, because when you've been conditioned to accept something, having this thing decay and eat away at your being, you create a put-together image so no one would suspect anything, though behind closed doors you lived a life of loneliness, despair, and isolation, and all you could do was project and point the finger at the other, simply to survive the lies of being a minority. And then you enter women's studies. That's right, you know, where that other piece of you is harder to grasp, that you would follow a God who many believe was against that part of you, and coming out as Christian is more of a shock than the parts you've hid in your entire life. You've opened yourself to new communities, but sometimes you feel you don't belong because you look different, act different, can pass, not visibly identifying with the stereotypes. You're trying so hard to break those internalized feelings that make you cringe every time you think them, and you wonder, will I be a minority forever? Sitting and thinking and overanalyzing and questioning, finding everything overwhelming, especially these theories, querying your mind. Oh, so let's get this straight. How do you perform gender? Will I ever understand Judith Butler? How do you work within and against dominant ideology and disidentification theory to challenge the straight mind? Am I not a woman because I'm a lesbian? Is it okay if I'm just Jenna for 1 second? Because all I ever wanted was to fit in and belong. That longing in my heart, which is only expressed through poetry and song, revealing my struggles and pain, but never being able to name what they actually were. And these two pieces of my identity, my spirituality and my sexuality, have been the parts that have caused the most heartache and headache, shaming and shaking me out of the norms, realizing I'm not really normal. Even though I don't really know what that means, and nor do I want to be if it means boxing myself into heteronormativity, or whatever norms any gay or queer community tells me I should be, trying to find the compatibilities between these minorities, challenging, changing, transforming, shaking up these identities, hoping to forge a new one where it doesn't matter who I love, who I follow, or what I look like. And I can find peace in simply being me because I am sick and tired of being a minority. Thank you.